Welcome to The Explainer, folks. If you're a business leader evaluating Google's new enterprise development ecosystem, you are in the right place. Consider this your critical bottom-line briefing on the sudden, honestly dramatic shift Google just made with the rollout of AntiGravity 2.0. We're not just talking about a standard software update here. This is a fundamental rewiring of how code gets written, moving away from traditional editors straight into a full AI agent ecosystem. As leaders, you really need to weigh the incredible strategic rewards of this tech against the very real, on-the-ground operational risks your engineering teams are dealing with right this second.
To give you a sense of what's happening on the ground, look at this quote. One developer on Google's own forums perfectly summed up the overnight chaos, saying, "It felt like non-technical people had just shipped code straight to production." Honestly, that hits the nail on the head. Imagine thousands of developers opening their laptops and finding their active projects completely unusable because their go-to tools had just been stripped out without warning.
So how do we make sense of this? Here's our roadmap. We're going to cover 1, the forced AI pivot, 2, the enterprise agent ecosystem, 3, the operational risks of migration, 4, engineering productivity bottlenecks, and 5, pricing and strategic takeaways.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the forced AI pivot, overnight disruption in development.
Let's look at exactly how Google forced this transition. Picture this. It's Tuesday, May 19th. Out of nowhere, Google pushes an automatic, unprompted update to AntiGravity. Developers woke up, logged in, and found their familiar terminals and file explorers just completely gutted. The ability to directly edit your own code was swapped out for a chat interface, something Google calls an agent control tower. It was a total shock to the system for everyone.
And what's truly mind-blowing here is the timeline. Look at how aggressive this is. AntiGravity originally launched as an AI code editor in November 2025. Fast forward to May 19, 2026, and boom, Google forces this massive V2 update. But check out that final date, June 18, 2026. They gave teams less than a month to migrate before the old Gemini command line interface just stops working entirely. This isn't some optional beta, it's a hard mandate, even for enterprise users.
Moving on to Section 2, Enterprise Agent Ecosystem. Let's talk about the strategic reward.
You might be wondering, why on earth would Google risk angering its entire developer base like this? Well, because the strategic payoff they're building toward is absolutely massive. This wasn't just a feature tweak, it's a full orchestration platform. Version 2 drops with 5 core pieces. You've got a desktop app acting as the control tower, a lightning-fast Go-based CLI, a developer SDK, and deep enterprise Google Cloud deployment. But the absolute game changer here? Managed agents. This means your teams can spin up AI agents inside persistent Linux environments. These agents can reason, use tools, and run code in parallel while keeping context across multiple sessions. It's a totally different ballgame.
And driving this whole operation is one very specific number, 289. That's the amount of tokens per second processed by Google's Gemini 3.5 Flash model, which is the engine powering this entire setup.
Now, why does that number matter? Because when you're chaining multiple AI agents together, say one is building your backend while another is simultaneously spinning up the UI, speed is quite literally everything. If one agent lags, the whole system bottlenecks. At 289 tokens per second, Gemini 3.5 Flash is roughly 4 times faster than the alternatives. Look at the chart. GPT 5.5 is sitting at 71, and Claude Opus 4.7 is at 67. That sheer speed advantage is the secret sauce making parallel orchestration actually work for enterprise teams.
To put that abstract data into perspective, remember that wild Google I/O keynote? Varun Mohan ran a live demo that was just staggering. They launched 93 simultaneous sub-agents. Those agents processed 2.6 billion tokens across 15,000 requests. And the result? In exactly 12 hours, for under $1,000, they compiled a working operating system from scratch and ran the game Doom on it live on stage. It's an incredibly clear signal of where Google thinks enterprise development is heading. Okay, let's pivot to Section 3, Operational Risk Submigration, the tactical reality.
Because as amazing as that long-term vision is, it crashed headfirst into short-term reality. The rollout was chaotic, to put it mildly. AntiGravity 2.0 and the traditional AntiGravity IDE completely bumped heads during installation. They literally fought over the same directory. If a developer had both installed, the new update essentially overrode and corrupted their existing workspace configurations. Imagine your engineers losing their carefully customized setups with zero warning? Yeah, it's not great.
And because Google didn't give anyone an official rollback button, teams are resorting to some incredibly messy workarounds. They're wasting valuable engineering hours manually uninstalling version 2, hunting down the old IDE, copying config files by hand, and rolling back to version 1.23.2 just to disable those automatic updates and actually get back to writing code.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Engineering Productivity Bottlenecks, the on-the-ground friction.
Let's unpack the specific day-to-day productivity killers this forced migration introduced. Since this new system is built for a totally different workflow, it's causing massive drag. Familiar visual error warnings? Gutted. Git management? Heavy, manual, and strictly command line driven. Devs are literally feeling blind to smaller bugs because the AI ignores minor warnings as long as the app doesn't crash. And worse, you've got ghost processes tracking closed apps, which spits out false error reports that your engineers have to manually hunt down and kill. It is a massive time sink.
Now, to be fair, there are some undeniable technical wins here. The new automatic efficiency mode means memory consumption dropped like a rock, from over a gigabyte down to a very sleek 150 to 500 megabytes. That's a real positive. But the trade-off? Structural chaos. To maintain any kind of productivity, your developers are now forced to juggle 3 separate conflicting tools all at once. Version 2 for the agents, the old IDE for traditional coding, and the CLI for terminal work.
Finally, we are at Section 5, Pricing and Strategic Takeaways, the executive decision.
So, what is this going to cost you? Let's break down the executive framework here. Google's tiers are pretty clear. The Pro plan is your basic entry point. But if you're a business leader scaling this across a team, you're looking at the Ultra plan. That's $100 a month per user to get 5 times the limits. If you're a massive team heavily tied into Google Cloud, they've actually dropped the Ultra Premium tier from $250 down to $200 a month, which bumps you up to 20 times the usage limits. The big takeaway here, Google absolutely is not competing on price. Just compare AntiGravity's $100 starting point against tools like Cursor or GitHub Copilot Workspace, which sit right around $20 a month and use that familiar VS Code environment. If you just want a cheap AI assistant, you go with Cursor. But Google is selling a top-down infrastructure play. If your enterprise is building on Android or Google Cloud, they are maneuvering AntiGravity to be the unavoidable, fully integrated choice.
Which leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought. Google isn't just trying to make coding a little faster here. They are actively redefining what a developer actually does, moving them from writing code to supervising autonomous agents. And they force the issue, completely regardless of the short-term chaos it caused. So, as you look at your budget and your team's workflow, the big question isn't just about software costs anymore. It's this: is your engineering team truly ready for the AI agent era? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helps you navigate some of these complex decisions ahead.